There was an article that we both read. It was about a trans athlete, AB Hernandez, who won 2 California high school jumping events. So really what, no pun intended, jumped out to me is when you got into the heart of the article, which is about a trans athlete who, again, was participating in these events. California state now has this like new kind of like rule where whatever event a trans woman is in, so in this case, let's call it the high jump, right? That AB was in. You can then, and let's say 10 athletes qualify for it, they give an extra spot. So now 11 can. And let's say in that event, the trans athlete medals. They allow, so let's say AB finished first, second, or third. Whoever finished fourth bumps up a spot. So they allow for this like extra space, as if to say the trans athlete is taking up that spot. We all know where we stand on this. But what I found interesting about that is in this particular moment with this particular sport, it actually kind of answers the questions around the quote unquote unfairness that people always bring up. And yet people are still complaining. So nobody missed out on a chance to compete and nobody missed out on getting a medal. And by the way, AB, who did win 2 of the events, it wasn't like Smash City or anything like that. So all that really says is, okay, so it's really not about having the chance to compete. It's actually about the transphobia. So that's really what stuck out to me.
The administration's war on trans athletes unfortunately continues.
16-year-old girl with a mad attitude, like, you think I'm gonna care?
Trans teen athlete AB Hernandez has spoken out about the backlash she's received due to her participation at her high school's track and field events. Hernandez, who has reportedly been on her high school's track team for 3 years, has been the focus of several protests held outside of her high school in Europa Valley, California, after she qualified for the California Interscholastic Federation State Track and Field Championships. As a male, he was a less than average competitor. As a female, this transition person is practically unbeatable, Trump said. In the post, Trump also threatened to cut California's federal funding if Hernandez was allowed to compete in the state finals, which were held on May 31st. In response, California officials tweaked the rules to expand the number of cisgender girls who could qualify if a trans athlete was participating. California has, for more than a decade, allowed trans girls to participate in girls' sports, but under the new pilot rules, cisgender girls who would have qualified for the state championship if they hadn't lost to a trans girl could still advance. The teen athlete was publicly outed on social media by the president of a nearby school board in October 2024. Local protests then followed Hernandez at the events she competed at throughout the season, including the state championships. While Hernandez faced backlash and harassment from external groups, she is grateful for the consistent support from her own school community.
So of course, Riley Gaines would attack AB Hernandez along with every trans athlete just trying to exist and make friends in the space. And you know who she got to agree with her? I guess it's not that all surprising. Stephen A. Smith on his show, showing once again how centrism is awful.
The number one argument that the Riley Gaines of the world keep tossing around while trying to argue that trans people should not be included in sports is that a man could pretend to be a woman to infiltrate a woman's space and abuse them. Riley Gaines' brain says that you were abused, so you should want to keep trans women out of sports. And her reasoning believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men. It is such a leap of thing that could happen, as is any argument that anybody passionately makes against trans athletes in sports. I just am sick of people acting like keeping people out of sports is some revolutionary position to take, when actually, if you look through the history of sports, it's like kind of the establishment. Sports loves to keep people out, and fighting for inclusion in sports is actually the radical position to take. Trans people are people. Maybe you don't know any. So maybe that's why it's so easy for you to erase their humanity and refer to them as if they're just men pretending to be women so they can abuse people. There's no evidence of that. It's all plenty of evidence of men abusing women. No evidence of this boogeyman that they keep dragging out. The trans community is already at huge risk of suicide, of isolation, of being ostracized. and it's that important to you that you also don't let them play sports, you are attacking a very vulnerable community very maliciously.
And on the Hernandez front once more.
Didn't AB jump just as high as the other participants? They all jumped the same.
The only reason why AB won was because she didn't have a fault.
She didn't
and
have
the
a
others
fault,
had
and the other
one
ones
fault,
did.
like a missed
I
jump.
just want to continue to challenge the narrative and the fear-mongering that is so present in that if we let trans people play in sports, they're just going to dominate everything and completely take over, and that just isn't happening. It's just not happening. So I just want to keep saying that for people and keep debunking that. And not even just debunking it, but just like, let's just pay attention to how much that is said versus where we're actually
where it's actually happening. Right.
Where it's actually happening and the incongruencies that lay there. And then, of course, what you said, it turns out it's just about the transphobia. Again, interesting pilot program in California. But yeah, we'll continue obviously to talk about this and watch this space. Congratulations to AB Hernandez on jumping 5'7", just like the other girls.
From The Guardian, this. Trump's missives came after he has spent the first months of his second term attacking the rights of trans youth to live openly at school, access anti-discrimination protections, participate in activities that match their gender, and obtain vital health care. All right, let's get through this. The Advocate's Trudy Ring has more. The administration, through the U.S. DOJ, sent a letter to the state of California and their officials asking them to certify that they do not let trans athletes in K-12 schools compete according to their gender identity. However, the state has let trans students do so for years and has no intention of changing the policy, says California AG Rob Bonta. This week, the California Department of Education notified the DOJ that it will make no such certification. Doing that would violate state anti-discrimination law and the U.S. Constitution, said a press release from Bonta's office. Bonta would state the president and his administration are demanding the California school districts break the law and violate the Constitution or face legal retaliation. Bonta said in the release they're demanding that our schools discriminate against the students in their care and deny their constitutionally protected rights, as we've proven time and again in court. Just because the president disagrees with a law, that doesn't make it any less of one. As California's chief legal officer, I'll always fight to uphold and defend the laws of our state, especially those that protect and ensure the civil rights of the most vulnerable among us. It's a good statement. I'm glad that he did it. What really gets me is this is the same crowd that says that they want to protect women's sports and they want to protect women in women's sports and they always want to protect women, yet you voted for a man who essayed, according to the women, over 25 of them. This is an administration who does not care about women. They have shown they don't care about women. And this is just another one of these falsehoods that they come up with, saying that they want to protect women in women's sports. Riley Gaines had a coach who sexually abused multiple people. She still follows him on Instagram. Still has a connection with him, apparently. But that doesn't matter because Riley Gaines wants to protect women in women's sports. No, she doesn't. No. After being, let's be clear, a successful swimmer, all it took was tying for 5th with a trans swimmer. It wasn't even for 1st place. She tied with a trans swimmer, 5th place. And that is what got her stardom. Because she tapped into America's deepest insecurities, who continue to not educate themselves on the topic and placate into their fears, into saying this is the problem with America, when really it's the people that she supports. We're sending the military on citizens? No. We need to get rid of trans people. That's the problem. Hey, let's send in the Marines and try to fix a problem that doesn't exist. No, it's trans people. That's the problem. Riley Gaines will be a flash in the pan, and history will not look back on her fondly. And the reason being is because she is in line with fascism. She is a fascist. This is the same way that the Big H treated trans people way back when. She's just carrying the torch. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.